Thank you all so very much for being here. Now, let me do this. Where's Tim at? Tim, where you at? Okay. I have a script, and I'm going to do it. But for those of you that know me, I'm not a script person. So let me do some things Lynn's way, and then we'll do that way, and we'll go home. Thank you very, very much for being here. You don't know how pleased I am to see all of you in this room. Before I go any further, rather than you standing over there, will you please come over here and join me and just stand with me here? It's always good to have people that support you, standing with you, and rather than having them to my side, I wanted them behind me. Actually, what I could have did is I could have turned around like this and had all of you behind me, because all of you at some point have supported me also. And I am extremely, extremely grateful for that. To all of you, individually and collectively, thank you very, very much for who you are, and what you've done, and what you've been in my life. And I could probably go across this room and point out different people that have made and played significant roles in my life that helped me to be who and what I am today. And for that, I am eternally grateful and always will be. Never thought I'd be here. Before I go any further, let me tell my wife, thank you very, very much. I was at the Century Center at the Hall of Fame, and there was probably 500 people in the room, and I stood up and I acknowledged everybody in the room except for this lady here. That's been 6 years ago. And I promised and vowed I would never do that again. So to you, Ms. Coleman, thank you very, very much. My brothers, my extended family, all of you, my friends, co-workers, childhood friends, all of you, and enemies if there be any. Thank you very, very much for sharing this time with us today. I stand here extremely humble, proud, and more than anything, blessed to have the opportunity to be here today. If somebody had told me in 1972, when I graduated from high school, that one day I would be standing in a building named after one of my best friends in life. In fact, he was probably more of a brother to me, the Charles Martin Youth Center, getting ready to acknowledge my candidacy for the United States Congress of the United States. Hey. I would have never in my wildest dreams believed it. Probably wouldn't even been able to conceive it. But here I am. And thanks be to God for this opportunity. For those of you that might not really know me, let me just share with you a little bit. Born and raised here in this town. Grew up on the far west side of town, little community, little neighborhood that we affectionately call the Lake. I was one of 6 children. I was number 4 of the 6. Born to my parents, James and Virgie Coleman. Had an opportunity to go to school at Harrison School. Proud graduate of Washington High School. 2 weeks after high school, 2 weeks after high school, thereabout, had an opportunity to get hired. My mom and I, both of us, the same day, got hired at A&M General. We made Army trucks. We worked on the 2.5-ton Army truck line. We were on the assembly line. She was on one side, and I was on the other side, about 20 feet apart. She worked harder than any man in the plant. Mom was a little tougher than I was. A lot tougher, actually. After about a year and a half of working in the factory, I messed up my back. Couldn't work anymore. Had to have major back surgery. Ended up being on disability. Because of my disability, had the opportunity, I'm blessed, to go to school. Began to take some classes at IUSB through a program with vocational rehabilitation here in South Bend. Went to school, took some classes at IUSB, and it sort of changed my life forever. After I'd done that, I began to get involved and be a part of different things in the community. When I went to school at IUSB, it was my hopes and dreams to be a juvenile probation officer. Didn't work. Lo and behold, 1977, I was fortunate enough to join the South Bend Police Department. 23 years service with the South Bend Police Department. Probably 23 of the best years of my life. Had the opportunity to work in uniform patrol, spent some time working in gang crimes, was able to create a juvenile division for the police department, and retired as a division chief, thanks to Governor Joe Kernan. After retirement from the police department, I joined the staff of Mayor Stephen Lickett as one of his assistants. I was able to work on youth issues. I was a liaison with public safety and had the opportunity to be coordinator of the Mayor's Neighborhood Task Force. Currently, I'm employed with Memorial Hospital as a community liaison with trauma services working in a violence prevention program. After nearly 40 years of service, working and volunteering in this community, I am not ready for retirement. There's still a little left in the tank. This is what my life and career has been about. Serving the community I love and bringing people together to try to get things done. But sadly, that's not what's happening in Washington, D.C. Congress is filled with too many politicians willing to put themselves in special interests first, even at the expense of our children and families. I'm running to bring Hoosiers and their values to Washington, D.C. As mentioned before, I'm what I think to be a common sense leader. Somebody that's willing to put politics aside to focus on the real issues and trying to come up with solutions to it. That's what I've done my whole life, and that's what I plan to do as a member of the United States Congress. In these uncertain times when our economy still is not yet recovered and our country is fighting terrorism at home and abroad, we need Congress to work together. We need a Congress that's willing to put American people and businesses first and to stop threatening a government shutdown whenever they don't get their way. We need a Congress that will strengthen Social Security and Medicare instead of voting in a way to weaken it. We need a Congress that will help to increase wages and grow our economy. We need a Congress that will control the high cost of college degrees so that our kids can get an education that they deserve and that they're going to need to have without piling up a lifetime of debt on them. I'm going to spend the next 11 months of my life campaigning, spending time throughout the 2nd District, in this campaign, talking to people from the north end to the south end, to the east and the west, trying to find out from them and listening to them at what their problems and their issues are. And then we want to make sure that this campaign is not about me. This is not about Lynn Coleman. I've done enough now that if I chose to, I could go in the corner and sort of rock this thing out. But again, there's work to be done. And I'm willing to try to do the work. And so it's not about me, but it's about you. It's about you, the citizens in these communities that care, that want something, that want to be able to have a better life. And so I want to go to Washington, D.C. on your behalf and to work for you. South Bend and this part of the state has been extremely good to Lynn Coleman, have allowed me to grow, to learn, to live, and to become the man that I am now. And I am extremely grateful for that, and will never, never be able to repay you for all that you've done for me. But now, this very day, I asked you to continue to give me the opportunity to serve you, our community and the northern part of Indiana, by giving me your voice and letting me take your voice to Washington, D.C. And I promise you today that I will be that servant and that voice that you deserve to have as I serve you in Washington, D.C. Thank you very, very much.